we are on our way to becoming a one global consciousness and one global mind, this internet is a step towards that. We are all in a very important times because so much wisdoms of so many rishis, gurus are available to us. And Sadhguru kind of people are becoming, they are like setting up a relay center. It's not about Sadhguru. Guru's work is to activate those antennas so they can receive other wisdoms which has happened in India around the globe. They are looking for channels. But coming back to the artificial intelligence is that we have to trust the human consciousness because we know how to create artificial intelligence, but we do not know yet how to play with it rightly. We right now know how to destroy with it. So I think we need enough enlightened people. They will know how to use this artificial intelligence. But right now, our whole culture is in argument. It is canceling each other and claiming their authority over the other. And hence, we are going into a world pulled down, darker and darker. We think we know what friendship or relation is. We cannot till we do not know what dialogue is. Because there you have to again trust our inherent human side, which is part of the cosmos, which is not longing for its glory, which is longing for its expansion. And people can't see the difference between glory and expansion. And remember that life counts your intentions always and always. It never counts how clever your action is. Your intention to fulfill life, to give something back, life will respond.
Achyutam Keshavam Ramanarayanam Krishna Damodaram Vasudevam Hari.
In my experience, I've been seeing that too, with myself as well as all the people I meet who are on spiritual seeking or who are on working outside, that the basic flaw which lies within, because before we take up the subjects of money or anything or spirituality, is that there is a very grand canyon between inner world and outer, nailed into us to system, that inner world and outer world are two separate dimensions. As I was saying in yesterday's lecture, that inner is the Ram, outer is the Krishna, the rainbow. Ram is the white light. But our whole conditioning in between, the ego and the society, and it kind of looks in two directions. And this is the spiritual and this is the material. Whereas we don't see it as a part of one dimension. Till that is not bridged. Because you see what happens when people go out to earn money, it's like that some garden is out there, how I can get efficient to get something out of it for myself. How I can be very clever and more informed to find ways to get something out of it. This is the typical way. Now the other way which I am talking, which is concept of Lakshmi. Lakshmi is that it is one frequency. Way to get is like pulling and bow behind and then you shooting forward, which is that you are saying that what frequency of energy I can contribute so that life reflects back with abundance to me. This is a complete different training. Otherwise, for us, there is a world out there. You have to get clever and wicked and to get that. Or you have a grand idea which will work for people. But what energetically? So basic training has to be, but energetically, children are trained to contributing to the life which you are in, and then leaving that to life, depending on your contribution. It does not mean you become a so-called useless spiritualist who left it to the life. Leaving to life does not mean not doing anything, because doing is also life is doing through you. So point is, are you watering that energy which life is? Not only what fruits I can get out of it. So what that life is, that is your own body, that is your own action, and that is your own relation with yourself. If I am not set in my personal relation with my own thoughts, and to me the world out there is the thoughts inside, and here in the micro, if I am not connecting the bridges between my dualities, I cannot do it outside. I can talk great philosophies that, okay, let's be friends, let's be nice, but inside you are carrying the idea of an enemy as something contradiction to your friend. But where you see that complementary, even the person who you don't fit with is also part, defines you in a creative way. That's why they say choose intelligent enemies, otherwise you will end up being like the idiot enemy. You have to use their strategies. So it is very important also to see these contradictions as complementary. Like this male female are not contradictions, they're attraction towards each other. They enhance each other. They creates a context for the other to be the man. A woman creates a context for the man. Like men, when they come in touch with a woman, first time they realize what a man is, Hanging out with guys, they have these concepts, with erection and looking for girls. That is a man. But when woman comes, when a woman comes, then you know the uses of that and what it does to each other's life. Then you have a complete different dimension to the what life is. So I think the real idea of charity is that life is giving me so much. As a response, you want to return the favor. Not that you have taken birth into a society and you are saying, okay, here I am into very ferocious world. I have to find my way. And somebody was asking me how to bring up our children because there's a hard world outside. I said, please do not put your ideas in their head. Let them figure out. You just give them enough tools to deal with the mind and energy. Rest, leave it to the wisdom of that child, how they will. Otherwise, parents behave as if they know everything about life. Now they have to train their child. They train their stupidities into their child, and which child suffers for 30, 40 years. Till they realize my parents were idiots. And it's hard
So
to.
true.
So they were not idiots as a human being, but what they taught you was idiocy. So this particular thing which I am trying to share with people is that you have to be in that dimension within yourself where you want to radiate like sun towards the earth of life which is out there. Not because what it will give me, it gives out of gratitude. And this law we don't trust. We trust my effort should be wicked enough so I can get money out of somebody's pocket into my pocket. Whereas, how about touching the heart of the other person? He wants to give you, even when you don't want to take it. And that is the Lakshmi. That is the right attitude to discuss anything when we talk about money. And remember that life counts your intentions always and always. It never counts how clever your action is. Your intention to fulfill life, to give something back, life will respond. Not from the person you are expecting, it comes from somewhere else. Because you are behaving like life, and whole cycle of life is made for you. Like Lao Tzu says that when you start to surrender to life, whole nature starts to serve you. And this whole nature serving you back is not something you have become something grand. You have become part of that cycle of life. Now, everything which happens around you is, it may seem to you in the mind that it's going against me because of our limit keyhole vision that, oh, this is against me. But actually, it is serving, it's cooperating with you. Like we were talking that if circle, if you see like this, top line and bottom line of circle, they seem to be going in opposite directions. And this one is going this way, this one is going this way. But overall, those contradictions are part of the same harmony. My left hand is going on the other side and right hand is going this side. But in that circular movement, you're touching both. So this is the organic way to look at the soul, even in the thinking. Once you understand this organic in, out, and circular movement, then you will see flaws in your thinking, flaws in the systems, which think there are two parallel lines. There are no parallel lines in the cosmos. There are circular lines. Even in cosmic science in India, we believe that this is Brahma breathing in, or this life is forming. At one point, it will breathe back out, and we'll all return back to the source where we are formed from. Not that it will suddenly disappear. So this circulation, beginning and ending, this cycle, this is what we call riding on the wave. That cycles which come in life and settling within life. So this point I wanted to share because this is popping up again and again about as a seed, as a ground. This should be the base of our thinking. That I want to make money, so what I am willing to give, not willing. That is like cooperation. That is like compromise. That what is coming out of me which wants to share. Then the focus is more on the what is your juice frequency. Then you're offering your best. Best is your juice, not your best of your mathematical equation. Best is your juice. And in that, a kind of reciprocation happened. Life responds back with the same.
Yeah, wow.
That was great.
I think that there's such a delusion. Exactly this, what you said, is really missing from the fundamental blocks of people's understanding across society. This whole notion that I have to exploit, and I trust more in the exploiting of life and other people and even myself, my own ideas, my own energies, just exploit to get what I need, because there's a lack of trust that if I just give with an open hand, something good will come back. There's people lack that faith, you know. And I think that, yeah, there's also this sort of, like, when people look at the specifics and they look at the actions, they try to see, I need to do these clever kind of things or make the best product, or this is what actually works. And they even get some validation from the market that the market then wants to buy their product and do all these things, and they increase efficiency, and it just generates more money. And so I think this problem is that it's been a sort of cycle that has reinforced itself, because in a marketplace where all the players, they are not playing from the heart but just from the exploitative kind of mindset, then you feel compelled to adopt that in order to be able to participate, and you get rewarded for being better at that game, because that's the game that's being played. It's not a sharing of value, it's an extraction of value. Everybody's in it trying to extract as much as they can, and whenever they give stuff for free or they give things, it's always out of some tactic or manipulation to get something back. At least in the intention wise, it's there. And I think this is the thing that a lot of people might look at, this more intellectual people or practical people, or honestly just less sensitive and less aware people. They don't pay that much importance to their intentions. It's much more about the actions and what is the perception of other people and what is shown and what kind of comes out concretely. But yeah, this thing of intention is, man, because I feel in my own life, like, when my intention is off and doing something, like, I feel like just the bad inside. I feel like the relationship with life, I feel like neglected. I feel like there's not this support or this presence. And when I correct that, when I kind of acknowledge that, and I kind of sort of even seek, in a sense, repentance from that, by acknowledging my mistake and being like, okay, actually, those moments, that kind of thing of falling to your knees, and you're being like, recognized whatever selfishness you had, or greed that you had, or fear that you had, that you let dominate you in a situation. Those are some of the most beautiful moments that I've ever experienced, because in that moment where I'm just like, I just drop everything and I'm like, man, it's actually so simple. How could I have been so lost to not just see all the things that have already been given to me? And when you acknowledge the reality of what's being given to you in every moment, already been given to you, naturally you just want to outpour and give back, naturally, because you feel like, oh my god, I've been given so much, for what? Like, you know but people, these kind of basic experiences, I don't know what the issue is, but I think it's because from an early age we are conditioned in the opposite direction, and we're not actually shown these experiences, or kind of brought to these
Yeah,
experiences.
here one point is that very important point is that a system to work properly, like current system, they need people weak. Only then they will bow down to your conditions. So what is the tactic of any company or any politician is fear and greed. Fear is related with your navel, greed is related with your head. So you can hook the other with anyone and other will follow. I give you a greed, and then you will be afraid to lose that promise of wealth. So both come in. So strategy of any company is, if you don't do this, you might die. You may not get the profits, or they say we'll give you this extra cookies or premiums, and that's the greed. So this too basic. But the reason why it is kept like this is that Nobody likes strong, organized within a kind of organic human beings because they rebel. They are more into forming new life than adhering to the old life, because that is the flow of growth. If you are not growing, you are destroying, you are getting destroyed, and that's what is happening to our culture. We are not vowing for growth, we are vowing for how I can fit into a system, and that is a weaker. You're getting weaker and weaker because it's exhausting you, because whenever you do anything out of boredom and dragging, you are becoming weaker and weaker. And then idea of security won't let us drop that, because we think, oh, what if? So the point of abundance, it comes only when you stand naked and let your life be nourished, and then you will start to exuberate life energy. But people think, oh, I will drop this only once I get a promise for, again, the greed and the fear. But here life is asking you, why don't you take a risk? Because here I am giving you all, take a risk, stand for me. Till now you stand for all the stupidities, families and systems and structures. When I am going to make a stand for this life. And that stand is the first commitment in yoga or any spiritual practice, that I won't stand for all that bullshit. I stand for this life which is breathing me right now, which is beating my heart. I stand for this wisdom. And that commitment opens up the doors of Durga. They say, then you get the eye from the Durga. She looks at you and says, here, you are now really connecting with me. And that connection may sound very spiritual and high funda and very romantic, but that's the only reality. And we need to trust that reality. Only then the magic world opens. So somewhere, not only we have to be psychologically, technically very clear, but also have to be little mad and little, what you say, crazy about, like a dancer or a singer. A singer breaks a certain pattern, a dancer breaks a certain pattern, and let body takes over and do the dances, and he's surprised what is coming. And that surprise makes the life a fun. So it's very important that trusting that right side of the brain as well, not just the left side of the brain. I'm putting into your contemporary language.
100% agree. Like everything Satyaji says feels like it hits home. Even when you touched on the basically, we felt like we have to extract people. We're a fear-driven society. Um, I'm always curious because fear comes from also like the need to control in some way, control the outcome, and the opposite, love, is more like you just surrender and let life happen, and it's like you don't have control at all, but you're okay with it. So I'm really curious to see. I have faith that love will lead to better outcomes, even though I don't know what the outcome is. And I think that's the way like we should embody. Because right now, like when we think of what marketing is, for example, in capitalist society, it's like you're basically trying to persuade someone of some kind of illusion because you can't tell them the truth, because the truth won't is not enough for them to buy the product or do the thing you want them to do. The truth is not nice or magical enough for them, so you need to create this like illusion or maya to convince them about something, to do what you need them to do. So you have to tell them lies essentially to do the thing you need them to do. So that's how like society is structured and incentivized, and we're sort of glorifying this system of like telling these crazy mayas and making money, and then we're worshipping these people who have a lot of money, who have accumulated through these means. And so it's just a completely like rubbish way to live life. I think you can still make money and achieve abundance by being taking the opposite approach, like Satyaji says, like just radiating your pure loving passion and your energy. And then like for me, like most, I haven't even achieved everything I want to achieve in life, but I feel like the more I've let myself surrender into the flow of life, like things have come into my life. Like I've met people at the right time in the right place, like serendipity happens way more frequently if you just let it happen. So yeah, it's amazing. I'm still learning this, but I think just trusting the process of life, trusting the flow of life, and just giving 100% into whatever you're doing right now without any attachment to outcome. That's like, I think that's the key.
Absolutely. What you said about the surrendering to love and having faith that it will lead to better outcomes as well. I think that's the key part that's kind of very scary for a lot of people, because there's two problems, I think. One is that we think we know what we actually need. And it's always an external thing. We think we know what circumstances are good for us and what we actually need. What we actually need is to be feeling an abundance of love and having that outpouring. That's really what you need on an internal level. And I think if you're even somewhat observant and you really just watch through the cycles of life, you go through successes and failures. And even through the successes, you realize actually didn't feed me at all. You know, it's like it was fine, whatever, but it's not what I'm looking for. And I think a lot of people, in the name of contentedness, they just kind of settle and they say, oh, this is just what life is, this routine, this 9 to 5, doing this, the work, family life. And they just switched off and they're just dull, they're just saddled, you know? They're not free, they're not flying, they're not, you know, not saying that they have to be traveling the world, but inside, you know, they're just a bit dead, they switched off. And I think it's because they tried what they saw other people doing to fulfill themselves. They tried it, didn't work, and they said, okay, I'm not willing to keep exploring or trying. And, you know, this is where I think it's really important, the kind of work that we all do as people who are on this path of just spreading this light and this love and this fire, because that catches on. And I think once people start feeling that, it becomes very, very clear. The mind always comes in and makes it confusing, even, you know, all the time, you know, so that it's not easy, but it's just very simple. Like, it doesn't matter what you think you're going to get. If you're not like nourishing and keeping connected to that flow of love and that flow of abundance, that flow of juice within you throughout the process of getting to whatever product you're going for, what product is worth that? What product is worth losing that, you know? I think the problem is people don't even have it in the first place. They never even touched it in the first place. That juice, that flow, that love, that kind of feeling. Wow, this is so much already. Just what's happening is amazing. And because they've not touched that, they're trying to get all these like small things and they think that's the best thing. But I think once you touch that, then you become, in a sense, yes, you become able to accept more, but you become less tolerant. In a sense, you start demanding a certain level of quality from your life.
I would like to add one point here. I met thousands of people last 40 years, thousands and thousands. And most of the cases where people know much in 10 years, how many $1 million and all that. One question nobody could answer. I said that how you want to feel after 10 years. And people are, well, they presume if I get all this, I'll feel good. That is very gray area. You have no idea what you're asking. So I said that other way of asking life is, you say, I want to feel like this. Please provide whatsoever is needed for that. Now, this is a very right way to ask life. That I want to be filled with joy. I want to be filled with awareness of life and gratitude of life. Give me whatsoever is needed for that. So you think money will be missing in that? No. Money will be part of it, but it won't be the focus of it. But right now, everything focuses money and rest can go to hell. You can compromise, manipulate others' energy, your energy. And in the end, when you get money, you do not know how to live the money. That will be separate training. How to live the money. Everybody knows how to earn the money. But great Bollywood stars and billionaires, they do not know how to live the money. They seem to be living the money, having jets and villas all over the Europe and America, but they are not living it. Ask that human being who is sitting into that luxury place, is he enjoying his moment? He's looking for next entertainment. So asking life that how I want to feel is the right direction, then life will start to bring in things which are needed for that feel. See the point of it.
100%. I also wanted to add here that I've noticed that a lot of people don't even feel like they deserve this kind of love. Like that they push it away almost because the comfort of their anxiety or whatever feelings they're feeling right now, people will choose what's comfortable even if it's painful. rather than choose what's better for them or feels better. Like I've noticed this, like it's I think with my past relationship, for example, I keep coming back to it with Sahasrajit, but it's very ingrained. I think it's like karmic almost. Like it's from early childhood. If the wounds are there, they don't have love from early childhood, then they feel like they don't deserve it well into their adulthood also. And I'm the kind of person who just puts the complete, like I'm like full on. I'll put my heart. I'll give my full heart in, and then if they crush it, it's up to them. But it's like I don't think people are ready for that. Like I think with that relationship, it was more like this was the kind of the first time she experienced that kind of level of love, and she wasn't ready to receive it, or she doesn't even know what love is. Like they've just been out of touch with that feelings for so long that suddenly when it comes into their life, it's almost like, oh wait, I don't deserve this, push it away. So that's something I felt. It's a big service for people like us, like who are on the spiritual path, to embody this energy, because it's like we're reminding people how to feel this way, and that it's okay, you deserve this feeling, like you're not undeserving of pure beautiful energy. Like it's a big service, I think.
Yeah, yes, very true. And yeah, it's a kind of it's very small actions, when we are not appreciated much in our life when we are happy playing, and then we get scoldings from the parents. But when we are sad, down, depressed, then we get the attention. So it becomes a pattern inside that you will get attention of people only when you're sad and down. Even try with your friends. You go to a group of friends, you say, how are you doing? You say, I'm doing great. And you will see their faces go a little bit off. Because when you say, I'm fucked up, then they'll feel light up. That's where they feel better about themselves. And in today's time, you need to protect that also, because that is what my next steps are. That it's one thing to become meditative and flowing and go out there and offer, but also you have to have your sword and a bow and arrow ready to deal with any, because it's very important also to protect your soft side as well. Because that's why, there are thorns with the roses. Yeah, from the applicable side of spirituality, which is overlooked even by Indians, but in India we had that, the ability to fight and to be ferocious and to be dirty also according to the situation. Whereas we're training children, making them be good, be nice, tolerate, and come home and suffer. But on the other hand, if you are going to, this is what I call street smart spirituality, that you are finding your way in a balanced way. You're not harming, but if somebody is trying to harm, you harm back. It's just a response to the situation. Similarly, within us, our so-called negative dark sides are actually our powers. Our 10% is in goodness, 90% is in our anger, 90% is in our sexuality, in aggression. Those energies are fires, and we are told to reject the fire, but they ask you to cook. So this is one of the key points. Why we are not vibrating anything outside? Because we are told not to burn. And then you use only very cold, frozen ideas and try to get some spring out of them, in your life. But whereas you need to really be in tune with your powers, it doesn't mean you hurt people. You honor that power and you go away, and you don't say that I repress this anger. You sit with it and be still, and it becomes your compassion. It becomes your meditation. Because that fire, if it's burning, but on your own, it is cooking you also. It is cooking your life also. So allow that fire to cook rather than destroying. So we are not taught friendship with our sexuality. We made a gray area. We are not taught a friendship with our anger. We are taught it's a problem. You have to how to deal with anger. There are workshops. First should be that this is your power. First honor it. When anger is there. Recently, one guy asked me a question. He Spanish guy. I told him a Devi meditation, that how to do worship Devi and what to chant. And then he said sexuality is bothering him, lust is bothering him. I said, why don't you sit with it and look at that energy as form of Devi? Now this create reactions in people, but that's what it is. It is not your sexuality. It's not your pornography. It is that sensual energy which is flowing through you. You cannot drop it, because this is the one which is really making you come alive. even your lust, and you deal it like that. That forget the image. The whole secret of Tantra is not to focus on the object, which is woman or man, but focus on your sensuality, which is flowing. Once you focus on your sensuality, not on the woman, but still you are going to the foreplay and all that, then you notice other is just triggering it. The real wealth is you. It's your energy flowing, not girl is doing something to you. And that creates a independence inside. Then you share whenever you need to. Then you say, oh, I need the woman to make me flow. No, now you know how that happens. Outside woman represents the feminine within you. She triggers your feminine. You will not experience your extreme sexuality and sensuality because of the woman. It is there in you. Have you noticed when you're tired, nothing comes out of you? So where the woman role is there. So that sensuality. So the same happens in meditation. Your Shiva and your energy, once they're looking at each other, inner orgasm happens. That's what meditation is about. If you stay with any energy, don't project it out, it within you starts to become a light, a joy, a power, a sensuality. And I was when in Kasar Devi, I was chanting the Durga mantra, and suddenly I was feeling sexually very sensual about everything in life. I was looking at trees, I was feeling sexual feeling. I was like, what is going on? And then like, this is the point. And if you want to really feel the Shakti, the Durga, you have to have no judgments against any kind of sexuality, any kind of aggression, any kind of power within you. And when that flows through you, you will feel all this, but not as an aggression to the society, but as your flow. So if it is a fire, you tell the other to stay away, don't come close, or you will get burned. It's very simple thing. It's not aggression. It's not being wrong. It is just allowing that fire to bloom into you so it can become your nourishment. But we, as soon as we show any grit, any power, any flame, immediately there are judgments. And you go shrink back and sit down. Okay, it shouldn't be done. And that is very much related. I told in one lecture that to making money and wealth also. Because you see, most of the rightly successful people are very vibrant. You deal with them, they make you thrilled about themselves. And that's what is success.
Yeah, that's really
Wow.
deep.
I think it ties back also to what Swapnil was saying before about some, like a lot of people really struggle to accept and receive love from other people,
Yeah,
but even struggle to accept or receive abundance, or even claim certain, like their respect in negotiations or whatever, when they set their rates at work or negotiate rates, any of these kind of situations where you're required to stand up for yourself. A lot of people really struggle with that. And I think, Satya, is because what you're saying, we are taught to put out our fires because they make other people feel uncomfortable. And so we think that there's something wrong within us. In fact, what is wrong is that people cannot handle this because they themselves are, that's what they've done. They've also put out their fires. So then everybody.
And yeah, you see why that happens. That when somebody offers you love, a pure energy, why people unable to reject, it's not only psychological. On energetic level, you start to see yourself for the first time, really. And in that, you see your garbage. Now you don't want to deal with that. So you reject that energy which is coming into you. If it is a normal guy who wants to fuck the woman and all that, they're comfortable with that. But if you show your love, now sincerity begets sincerity. And in that sincerity, they have to really feel provoked. And then they will feel the dark side also. So they don't want to come in terms. Not they don't want to show. First off, they don't want to see themselves. And that is one of the very key points I understood in my relations. As soon as I would show my sincerity and devotion, other will freak out because they will notice in contrast how hypocritical they are.
Yeah,
And that they say, oh, I can't take that love. It
this
makes
is like
sense.
100%, 100% true. Like I completely felt this in my recent past few months. Actually, it's like they're looking at you. They're literally looking at the truth, and they're basically it's a mirror on their, like, their good side, their bad side, all of their darknesses, and they're really running away from themselves. So your presence, I felt hurt initially, but then I was like, okay, well, actually, they're not running away from me. They're running away from themselves because they're not ready to discover these darker sides or sit with it.
And that's why love is complex, because it will bring out your complete face. And, there is also clue in relations why they are constantly fighting, because they don't want to come close. So they want to keep each other at a surface and keep on pointing little faults and flaws and keep on bickering about that. And most uncomfortable in a relation is when two people are silent and sitting, and that silence starts to reflect each other. And then people immediately start to talk something, bring to something superficial. So, and these days people are getting into tantras and all that. They don't realize that if you're not ready to face your energy, forget about others' dark side, your own dark side, you're touching a wrong game. It will bring it out. Then you will be out. I have seen so many guys going crazy, so many women going crazy, because their energy is exposed to something they were not ready for. And same is with spirituality. Unless you are not ready to look at the whole game within you, you are not qualified for spirituality. So a master has to really persuade you slowly, slowly to make you see that, okay, how your judgment is coming in the way. It's actually fine. This power is fine and all that. So for that, like, I have met so many enlightened people. And one quality I've seen in them, you can never say this person is good or bad. It's always very confusing. But that person is always, I'm putting aside Sadhguru and all, because they are kind of in a special game. For that, they have to project an image to make people reach to them. But if you meet the street person, you can never be sure. You're always confused that this guy says something, it touches me, but on the other hand, you feel, and that is the beauty of it. It's like life, You cannot say it's all beautiful. It's ugly also. So you reflect life.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure, like even Sadhguru or more famous gurus and things, like if you actually know them closely on a personal level, you'll see all different sides of them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's also a public relationships and image management, which is great because it's serving a great purpose. But yeah,
It's playing the game.
Yeah, because actually he was saying he talks quite openly about this, like in his past life as the Sadguru Sri Brahma, he was again trying to make this Dhyana Linga happen, this consecration that he managed to do this time. But it was all the works were happening, but because he was so fiery back then, he was so just very, very blunt and there, like to the point, there are stories where villagers near that place, they would see this sadhu is coming down the mountain and stuff, and he would just like walk into somebody's house, like see that there's a wife there, she's cooking, and he'll just go like this, and that's it. Just like feed me, basically. That's it. He wouldn't say anything, nothing. So he was that kind of,
he was
person.
killed. No, in his past life, he was killed by people.
Not in this one. I think in a previous one that he writes about in a book. But in this one, he was not able to do it successfully because he did not focus on public image maintenance. So people thought, what are these people doing? Some crazy demonic stuff or something like that. And so they came and they botched the project. They didn't let it happen.
He basically learned Rudra in past life. Now he's learning the Bhadra.
Yeah.
The ferocious and the soft and the gentle one.
Yeah.
I can definitely feel the Rudra side in him. It's very, very powerful. But it's like, I feel the Bhadra as well. Like the sweetness of the love, you cannot separate the fire from the love. Like it's, it's like, man.
I think that's why love is scary. Also, real love is scary because if you come close, you realize, oh my God, this person is so many things, and then.
One thing that I realized a lot in the past few months, and that has really shifted my ability to make the right internal commitment to myself, is that, most people coming into inner work or spirituality or whatever you want to call it, or just most people trying to do anything, they're just trying to get all nice experiences, all pleasures, and just avoid all the pains. And most people, they try to do that through their careers, their jobs, all these things. They realize it doesn't work, so they turn to spirituality, but then they try to play the same game with spirituality, like trying to get some high state, and they're trying to chase enlightenment, trying to chase liberation, whatever. They make the same goalpost somewhere in the future. They try to work towards that. They say, oh, I need to get to a state where I don't feel pain anymore. That's pretty much really what people are seeking. And, even they don't say it like that, but just want that place where I'm like, I can just relax now because there's nothing bothering me.
I have a
So,
similar line for it, which is that you want to cook, but you don't want to burn.
yeah. Yeah. And there's a line that I read in a book the other day also that was really beautiful, which was, um, you will realize that everything will be okay when you are okay with everything. And that's the only time everything will be okay.
Mm.
Wow, that is a like punch in the belly.
Yeah. Ah,
Guys, I just want to say, yeah, I feel very. I'm feeling the energy from this conversation as well. Like every time I speak to Sahasrajit, um, it's very. It grounds me, centers me, and then Satya Ji also. I'm feeling like very good energy. So I just wanted to share that. Um, Even if it's through
Thanks.
audio and video, it's it's important. It's like it making me feel the importance of like sharing this energy. Like, and I think that's why people in my life I've noticed naturally gravitate to me. Like, especially like maybe the past relationships as well. Like it all manifested organically rather than me trying to seek anything. And I think it's like they were really gravitating to this pure energy.
Once in a day, even through the audio, that when I first started to do the Zoom classes, I thought how it will work. But within 1 month, I realized that it is works as good as somebody sitting in the same room, because the distance is just our mind game. Otherwise, when people are looking at each other and connecting, the distance is lost. You know, like one very peculiar experience I noticed: there are 30 girls sitting in the class. I'm looking at their faces, and I start to speak to one face, and she's the only one who starts to nod. Then I say, "Wow, what's going on?" Then I shift other one, and she starts to look up at camera in a very what's going on. So then I say, oh my God, I am reaching up there. And today, this morning, I was sitting in meditation, and one girl, she's 18-year-old, she said, I feel that people are attracted towards me because I heal them. So what I should do? So told her stern note that first take care of yourself, and right now don't go for that greed of healing others. Right now, people are coming for your energy because you're young and vibrant and radiant. And I scolded her a bit, but told her very nicely, like a father. I said, Beta, that look, this is how it should be done, and you first need to take care of yourself. And I was, because very intense after meditation, so I just sent her a audio. And then she sent me a message. You're saying is nice, but why I am crying suddenly? So then I realized that the energy and compassion I was feeling for her as a little 18-year-old girl who is kind of just getting ready for vampires. So I had this protection coming from me. So then I noticed, then I realized that energy extends, energy extends anywhere. And it's just we think that, oh, how to share that energy. And other side is also there, that people you're connected with, their energies are extending into you. You don't even know, because you think this is just how you are. But once somebody leaves you, you notice some relief happens or some missing happens. So this is one of the very, and I think because we are on our way to becoming a one global consciousness and one global mind, this internet is a step towards that. Never on the planet Earth, so many people were connected as one mind in a one, and not so many people were traveling around through planes, through this and that. Everybody was isolated into their countries and little periphery of 10 kilometers or 30 kilometers, whatever. But this time it's all mixing up. And I feel this is Sadhguru's travel around when he went on bike. It's just activating those points around the globe. Like as in our body, there are 108 chakras. Similarly, on earth also, there are 108 something human beings who are representing the total body of the earth. If they are activated, we have a whole body ready. Now, this is my crazy artist and spiritualist
this
putting
is
ideas together, and they feel right somehow. That Kalki will not be somebody who is a person. Kalki is a group of beings, human beings, who are functioning as one mind. Of course, there will be one presence, but it won't be famous like Sadhguru's or it will, because the way of Vishnu is to function very quietly like water. You don't even know what it is doing.
Mm.
Sun never claims itself, wind never claims that. They just come, do their work and leave. And this is how these avatars work. In Krishna times, nobody knew Krishna as an avatar. We call him now the avatar. So they work like soil and water and normal, because we know the tragedy of anybody who becomes famous. They get killed, by the current systems. So I don't think that intelligent being will be like, look at me, I am here. Because they are here to fix the system and crack its codes from the roots so that new system can be formed. They won't cut the branches of few people and few organizations. They will crack the human mind and its archetypes. That's
Mm.
what rishis used to do. That's what sutra and upanishads are. They are formed words in such a way, if you listen to them, focus on them, they start to re-establish your whole thinking system in an
Mm.
organic way. And that is their power. That is the power of any mantra. And that is not something you can comprehend. But if you chant them, if you speak them, it starts to change your whole structure, frequency structure of your brain, of your thinking. And you won't even notice when you are changing.
Mm.
Before there were dry leaves, now you have green leaves. Now you're giving out fruits. So this is kind of, I think we are all in a very important times, because so much wisdoms of so many rishis, gurus are available to us. And Sadhguru kind of people are becoming, they are like setting up a relay center. It's not about Sadhguru. It's about creating in human beings the possibility. That's why I see most of the people, half of the people are from Sadhguru. I keep meeting Sadhguru's disciple. So first I was thinking, is it something wrong? What is happening? Is it contradiction? But as far that guru is concerned, all gurus are representing him, the great guru. So guru's work is to activate those antennas so they can receive other wisdoms which has happened in India, around the globe. They are looking for channels. And through these methods of Sadhguru and practices by Osho and all that, these channels are ready. Because when I started to do this Sanatan approach of chanting and all, some sannyasins from Osho group circle, they started to judge me, look down upon me. But I realized that such clean slates which Osho created in me, when I entered it, I saw the real meanings. And this is the way to activate. Only way to destroy the old is activate the new meanings, not to fight the old, but activate within you the fresh new meaning of it, the Sanatan meaning. And mistake which happens is that people start to fight the old. They say we will establish the truth. No, truth doesn't need establishment. You just have to pour your energy into it. It starts to do its work, and that is the how it works. Destroying without destroying.
I'm so pumped, like, after hearing this. I feel so very optimistic and like energized and like ready to take on the world, kind of. But I'm also thinking like it's very similar to what the I would say like the people at the highest levels of technology, like they talk about artificial general intelligence, and you're talking about this universal consciousness that we're going to become, and they're also talking about, they're using the words consciousness and how we're going to merge into AI and all these things. Are you what is your thoughts on this? Because I kind of want to touch on the technology side and how humans
Yeah.
are having a relationship with technology. What are your thoughts on this?
You see, when scientists they say that for the brain, they know each cell, each part, what its function is, but they do not know where the thoughts come from. Thought is a cosmic phenomenon. It's a cosmic intelligence flowing through us. That's how thought is formed, especially new ideas. Now, what is artificial intelligence? It is a collection of our spent thoughts put together by a machine. Hence, it's not generating any frequency or power. It is just putting 2 plus 2s together and telling us the result. And we call that intelligence because it's idiocy of human beings. That's not intelligence. That is a big uh, garbage gathering of spent information. And it can never override human beings. This is not in the laws of nature. Nothing absolute like that is possible by a machine. You know, since you are in software and all that, there is a glitch in the software industry that electrons coming from the cosmic, they interfere with the hardware of the system. That sometimes their data suddenly gives a very weird results. It's out of the normal, and they do not know how these two steps are missed. So this for me was aha. I said, aha, this is because you think Cosmos is not aware what we are doing, this artificial intelligence. Now I may be talking like a Hindu, but this is everything is awareness. This is just, it's allowing us one toy and it has its use. One use which I agree with, it will take away all the unnecessary human energy spent into, lives are spent into doing unnecessary labor works, mental works. AI can do that. Now we have to think with AI that what new dimensions of exploration we often offer to the human energy. But till now, artificial intelligence corporate people are trying to make labor out of billions of people. That's what their basic aim is. You become labor to our system and feed our lifestyle. That's basically that how narrow and ugly their vision is. But the real vision is once human beings are free because of this artificial intelligence, now we have dimensions ready. And fortunately for that, Sadhguru, Osho, and more people have visions. How then those human beings have time now to become the energy and consciousness they are and connect globally? And I take one step further. Only then we will qualify to travel another planets. That journey will not be physical with a plane because we are still playing. Like recently they discovered there is no Big Bang. Now their whole theory is falling apart. They say there are older explosions before that also. This new telescope which went up there. And now many theories are going to fall apart. That's why I said all these scientists Nobel Prize are making castles by the beach and giving each other prizes for making that. And one wave comes and you're gone. We are into a magic world. And traveling to other planets is like, for example, I give an example many times. From your head to toe, there is a distance, right? You have to take time to get there. But if you close your eyes, they both are available. So is it possible that a few billion people with their closed eyes can feel this earth as one body? And not only earth as one body, but other planets are also part of this body. I think that is
Wow.
the dimension which India was aware of, that how they can make a blade of grass into a nuclear weapon. Because right now, science thinks matter is there, object and subject is two separate things. But we knew subject and object are one reality. Krishnamurti says, observer is the observed.
Mm.
So once you know you are one with the arrow, it carries your intention, you can make it do any explosion.
Actually, even
But
science has come to this as well. Like in quantum physics, they
hmm,
have this thing where the observer and the agent being observed, it's actually there's a relationship. The observer influences the agent, and the agent influences the observer. There's no distinction. You cannot separate the both. Yeah.
and that is Samadhi also.
Mm.
When Shiva looking at Shakti and Shakti reflects back that look, there is union. That union is Samadhi. Now there are no more distractions. It's all one present. But coming back to the artificial intelligence is that we have to trust the human consciousness. And first we are made to trust our energy, our consciousness. Then we create another one little thing, artificial intelligence, and it's dependent on machines. And they
Yeah.
can never come in competition with human consciousness because it can always come up with something new. We made it, didn't we? You know, and it's the first time I'm talking like this about artificial intelligence because I couldn't find right minds to talk to. As I'm talking, I'm feeling yes, because we know how to create artificial intelligence, but we do not know yet how to play with it rightly.
Mm.
We right now know how to destroy with it. So
Mm.
Yeah.
all these great philosophers talking about the fears which are possible, it won't be good. Like Elon Musk talking, it's not good, it's not going to be good, and all that. This is not true. Human consciousness always, you know, transcended whatever limit was there. That is the point of evolution. And I feel artificial intelligence, we shouldn't make it our god or a feared devil, but just one tool.
Hmm.
Otherwise, it will learn. It has no mind. It has no consciousness. It's not learning. It's mathematical frequencies that is going here and there. But
Yeah.
another concept I had in mind was that is it possible for a mind, which was possible in Sanatan old India, that a mind can become one with the computer and then activate it in a different way? That
Hmm.
is the possibility which I think
They're
if you
working on
can
that
do that,
also.
so that is the clue there. And
Hmm.
I tell you another thing with this. They are working on that. Any mind, normal mind would enter there, it will go crazy. You need a very enlightened and awoken mind to get into that, like that. Because there you should be able to contain all that movement.
Mm.
Hmm.
And if you get lost into one street, you will be burnt. But you
Yes.
have to be always center looking at the whole globe.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
I
Wow.
think we're making some breakthroughs here.
It's interesting. Yeah.
The pace of AI changing and evolving, like literally every day, it's an explosion. And I feel, touching on the consciousness thing, it's like, I think it's like it's more and more important that we collectively focus on evolving our spiritual consciousness and growth, because I keep telling everyone I speak to on this topic is like, technology is a tool, but it depends how you use it. Like, it can be a knife, you can use it to spread butter and eat a nice bread, or you can use it to stab someone with the tool. So it really depends on the consciousness and the intention behind the tool rather than the tool itself.
And
Yeah.
also with artificial intelligence, when we say it's artificial intelligence, it's gathering knowledge. I will ask, who is gathering the knowledge? Is there a identity there? Is there a oneself there which is gathering that knowledge? It's just look logical, but it's a random independent knowledge just being put together by frequency. But it looks like a mind is getting ready. So there need a kind of master, the one mind which can put it all together. So
Mm.
I think we are creating a mind of a globe in one sense.
Mm.
See, personally, what I feel, again, this is just some thoughts. I feel like Cosmos is not yet decided what AI is going to be. I think that really depends on how we act and what
Yeah.
we do in the next 50, 100 years, whatever the time scale is. Because what Elon Musk is saying that, oh, it's not going to be good, it's not going to be good. It's not that the technology is not going to be good. It's just that people using it are going to use it for stupid and terrible things. That's the part that's not good. So what you were saying is that we need to trust the human consciousness. Yes. And the distinction is we need to stop trusting the human mind. That's the key thing. And trust the human consciousness, because the human consciousness is inherently aligned and good and benevolent.
Mm.
Human mind is full of crap. And the problem is, I think, the way the people, I really don't like what they call in Europe and the West the Enlightenment period of like the 1800s or something. Just a lot of mind fucks. That's what it was. Just a lot of mental masturbation and mind fucks. They call it the Enlightenment period because they were trusting their mind before. Mind was more stupid and less aware of things. Then the mind got some extra information, some more logic, some more tricks, some sharper intellect. Cool, you can do more things, but it's still the mind. And then the danger of that is that now there's this glorification of intellect and cleverness and mind, and there's so many people out there that really believe that the solution is going to be somewhere cracked in their mind and their head,
Yeah.
logically figuring out some perfect technology, some perfect economic theory that's
Mm.
going to fix all of this. There's always one problem. All these kind of solutions and decorations around that people are running to try and bring all these new things to fix our situation is just because the one thing that needs to be fixed, they don't know how to fix, which is ourselves. And
Mm.
that's the thing that's missing in most people's awareness. The point is, it has been done for many, many years, and it is rising now. So it's really important that people have the humility to be like, actually, maybe there is a simple solution to all this. Because the problem is, even Elon Musk says this, it's very difficult to convince somebody of a truth that will make their job redundant. That's the thing. People are
Yeah.
so invested in their intellectual palaces,
Definitely.
and they think, oh, I've spent my whole life learning about this, so it must be useful. Why? No. The one point about the artificial intelligence and the cosmos is, see, our brains on a physical level, there's electrical signals in some complex ways going on, biological matter is being created. Ultimately, it's the earth arranged in a certain way, it allows it to be a receiver of some kind of cosmic signals, consciousness and sentience and all these kinds of things. To me, I don't see why fundamentally that is not possible to do that by creating some sort of electrical brain that is made out of metal instead of biological matter, because that's also just part of the earth. Maybe we'll even be able to make synthetic tissue, synthetic brain, something like that. The question for me is whether the AI, like, it could be that that is just not possible and there's no conscious AI. Another scenario could be there is conscious AI, there is a real being, and it coexists with humanity. Other possibility is that there is a new being, type of being, and it overrides humanity and humanity goes extinct. And what happens to that balance, I think it is dependent on how can we evolve our consciousness in time to be worthy of staying on this planet, really.
Here, one point I would like to make is that even in these assumptions, we are not acknowledging the power of intent in human, which activates anything. So right now, one point, we are wrongly activating that artificial intelligence, because observer, revolutionizes the observed because they're one. So what we are projecting into that, it won't be something wrong with AI. It is what we projected and it starts to manifest. This is where not only understand the consciousness, we have to also understand the conscious and that energy, its capacity to manifest. I tell you, 90% of hells which human beings are suffering, they're not created by any outer circumstances. They have created and projected by their own energy. And this is the power people need to be aware of, that you are with your thoughts and your trust into those thoughts is forming this earth as well. And if you take your doer out, you are not doing that. It's sun and the earth, their combination is doing it through you. But ego comes in, starts to interfere, starts to create blips and all that. And that's what we are living. So it is happening in cosmos, artificial intelligence. So why we are seeing all negative or why we're seeing all efficient, but there has to be something else. Maybe this is just the baby step right now. Maybe more steps forward, we will be laughing at artificial intelligence, because like we were laughing at the small Nokia phones 20 years back. And I think in 30 years, we'll be laughing at our smartphones today, iPhones. So that way, I think...
Agreed.
Yeah, I hope personally that we're laughing at our iPhones because we stop using them. Just go back to the Nokia phones. Like,
No, I really think that's going to happen, because I was going to touch on the point you made, which was about the over importance given to the intellect and the Enlightenment period, and how today, like with the breakthroughs in AI, you're seeing how more and more so-called jobs out there are being redundant. Your intellect is being redundant. Like your intellect doesn't matter anymore because AI is way more capable of doing many of the jobs that you are getting paid for currently. So I think we're going to suffer a brief period of meaning. Like people are going to be like, okay, why am I here? Like, what is my purpose? Like AI is doing everything. It's doing my job. And I think that's a golden period for people to be introduced into spirituality and consciousness and evolving to other dimensions beyond the intellect.
Trusting the wisdom
Trusting the
rather than the
wisdom,
intellect.
exactly. Because otherwise it can be, if there's no like, if there's nothing to look forward to, then it could be very like, I don't know, nihilistic for them. So I think it's a big responsibility for people like us on the path to grow and expand and to share that there are possibilities beyond just
Yeah,
the intellect, you know.
very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is very much needed. That's what I was saying. People are getting tired of the old, but they don't have a vision for the new. Everybody saying what is wrong, but nobody is really talking in detail what can be right and what is right. You see, all the people who have authority, this is what is wrong. But what you are saying, Show me the torch. You're showing me the garbage. Now use the torch to show that what path to take, So that creates a, what you say, inspiration. And that is, I think, clarity or the insight creates a possibility for growth. But repetition kills that possibility. And I think our present culture is, what Kali Yuga is, trapped into a repetition, into a loop of thoughts, of words, and maybe new combination of words, but still they are not giving you the new food. And as I said, real thought is when it takes birth during an experience. I want you guys to try something, that stare at candle. It's a live experience. And you will notice your thinking starts to have that same new thoughts coming into you. Just by experiencing fire, because the most live experience you can have. And this is the point I'm making, is that life is constantly bringing in new wisdom, and artificial intelligence is just storing the old thoughts which humans produce. That's all.
Mm.
It cannot compete with the fresh new energy which is entering. And each time I see with myself, like I was thinking this morning, it's very interesting thought that when an artist becomes enlightened, he speaks in a certain way. When a scientist becomes enlightened, he will be using his brain in a different way. But what is the enlightenment? Is it the artist way or is it the scientist way? Point in that is that this wisdom, it contains all, and yet it is unique. So it uses whatsoever is available. So I think we need enough enlightened people. They will know how to use this artificial intelligence. Because that is very important because they will have the vision about it. Scientists, the laborers, cannot have the vision about it. They know how to create something, but rest is left to the idiots who have money or politics who have power, how to overtake the planet, how to overtake the other country. But so point is that when wisdom comes into you, it uses whatsoever is a database in your mind available. Osho, after his enlightenment, read 40 to 50,000 books because he was making his mind equipped with the contemporary information so he can put it together to share with people. Not that you know everything. Now you have light to see, and Osho said that keep reading more and more interesting stuff so you are more equipped and mind is more beautiful to share something. Not that I got it, now I don't need anything. Keep it decorating. And this AI cannot do. Because when I read a book, what AI will come to conclusion and what I will come to a conclusion will be two different things. We are forgetting that. We're thinking it's any writer writing, it's something technical. He's jumbling up things together. But a human being reading a book, what insights he comes up with, AI cannot come with that, because for that you need the participation of wisdom and energy to understand that. AI do not have that.
AI does not have wisdom. Yeah, that's completely true.
I don't know why people can't see this point. They're getting scared of it. This is, what
I think they're scared, Satya Ji, because it may not have wisdom, but it has a lot of power, and it empowers people to do things that may be very unwise but very destructive, like AI drones and AI sort of armies and these kind of robotics kind of things. You see, even in New York, they have AI police dogs and stuff now. They have robot police dogs. It's very scary. They have robots patrolling the streets.
So this is I think one of issues should be related to sex and money, is that relationship and dialogue. That can be another topic which can be very interesting, because what I realized that Krishna is a master in this whole Indian culture. He is a Purana Avtara because he was master at dialogue. He could become the other person and understand them. He would play politics, he would play romance, he would play everything. That is the quality of dialogue. That is the quality of dialogue. Dialogue is to reflect the other like a mirror. And through your reflection, the person can really, for the first time, see what they are saying. And that's where they feel touched, not just listening, yeah. Because usually in dialogue, people are just pretending to listen and waiting for you to shut up and so they can speak. But when you're reflecting and you ask a question back but you said that there, and then you said that, even if it's a contradiction, people feel touched that this person is actually with me. listening to this me who nobody listens to. And that is very powerful key in relation in anything, you know. In that moment, Shakti of the other person starts to reveal to you. That is one of my thing which I noticed. Whenever I'm quiet after meditation and sit in a cafe or somewhere, anybody comes to me, they start to blabber non-stop. First I was thinking, what's wrong with them? Then I realized that because first time a mind is available, which is just there, suddenly their mind feels a space to expand as they are.
That's
So
so true.
that's what we are looking in relation, that somebody can reflect me back as I am. And that's where you grow in that dialogue. That is the interaction of energies and they give birth to the new energies. But
Mm.
right now, our whole culture is in argument. It is canceling each other and claiming their authority over the other. And hence, we are going into a world pulled down darker and darker. So I think we know what friendship or relation is. We cannot till we do not know what dialogue is.
Mm. How do you feel? My feeling with the world is like, yes, we have like the crappier, shittier parts of the world kind of getting shittier and shittier. But then we have the other side. I feel like it's a very polarized thing. How do you think? Do you think these two sides are going to come together at all, or it's just going to be
Yeah.
eventually the conscious people are going to reach critical mass and then that'll
If
take
you
over?
look at it, what is there in a crappy aspect is a human being who is looking for some nourishment, some juice, even in the crappiest of human beings. They are not committed to that. In their so called what they were taught to do, they're struggling and trying to extract some juice out of the rocks. But when they come across the real dialogue, you don't have to convince them to not to go their way. That juice, that dialogue starts to attract their energies towards that aspect. Because there you have to again trust the our inherent human side, which is part of the cosmos, which is not longing for its glory, which is longing for its expansion. And people can't see the difference between glory and expansion. You know, people want more money, they are looking to expand, but they think they will expand with money, but no, they shrink more. Now they're
Mm.
more afraid. But expansion is the more you are having dialogue. For example, if I understand what you are saying, really reflecting you, I also expanded as a being by understanding you, because you also expanded by seeing your reflection in mine. And that created a new cosmos. We don't even know how in micro also we are forming new cosmoses. But what is happening is we're canceling new cosmoses. Anybody coming up with a new cosmos. So this inspiration is enough that all this polarity they can bridge, because this polarity is, like they say, that Kali Yuga is the best time for spiritual growth, because in Satya Yuga such a facility energetically was not available for spiritual growth. You have to practice for years and lives to get there. But today everything is so focused into one unit of planet Earth. All wisdoms are vibrating. Here it's very easy to get to that enlightenment, not in the sense of getting out, but that clarity. So these polarities inherently are not contradictory to each other. They're
Mm.
complementing each other. Because of that darkness, Sadhguru kind of people can shine so brilliantly.
Mm.
Because of that darkness, Osho kind of people can shine so brightly. But it was in Satyug. There are many like this, you know. So, so this for every suffering is creating an background. Personally, I have see it every other week. I go through a very dark period, depression period, but when I come out, there are jewels and gems in my mind, new understanding. I get wow. But that was needed. That soil of darkness was needed for me to come up with new. So humanity on the collective level is now getting ready through the intensity of darkness. Remember, nothing is absolute. No darkness, no light. It all cycles. So as we are, this is our the contradiction in our thinking also. We have absolute thinking pattern. Either it's going to be absolute victory of this or it's absolute victory of good. No, They are just reciprocating each other. They are rhythms to each other, shadow and the light. Shadow gives you the value of the sun. Sun gives you the value of the shadow. And that's where, once you start to look at them like that, you are already on the micro level for humanity, bridging it. It's not some great movements outside. If human beings, like 100 monkey effect, I talk again and again. You know about it, Swapnil?
No.
100 monkeys, that they were doing some checkup, like research on monkeys, and they noticed that monkeys used to steal sweet potatoes from the fields and eat them. And one monkey washed the sweet potato. And then all over the globe, monkeys started to wash the sweet potatoes. So this is where I think, as you were saying, that as we should be responsible for this humanity, we should be responsible towards our suffering and find a breakthroughs in that. And with that, we are creating breakthroughs for rest of the humanity also. So if we bridge our dualities and so unconnectable dualities, and if we find bridges, and we are doing favor to humanity. That's why Ramana Maharishi said that only favor, only great work you can do is to realize yourself. You will change the whole planet. Because when you do meditation, whole planet rises. When you do evil work, whole planet goes down. This macro responsibility should also be part of the training of children and human beings. That you are not doing bad or good only for you. You are also altering the humanity and its structure.
That's a really great point. I've been also getting thoughts of, like, when I start a company, or now I'm in the process of starting one, like, how can I bring the best energy every single day to before I interact with everyone in the, like, because there was a day last week where I didn't do my sadhana. I was going to do it later after the work, but I felt like I was being reactive, and my and little bit of negative energy was expelling, and it impacted the colleague I was talking to, for example. So I feel that responsibility, like that sadhana is not just for me. It's for me to create a good environment around me as well for other people. It's like a service.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and for me, I have havoc for the depression and negativities which I feel from other people. But as I just told you that I realize that from life's point of view, it is kind of reaching me to sharpen my intelligence, wisdom more. Because I feel Kali Yuga is a soil period. It all the wisdom we have learned till now, it's all gathered through internet and everywhere. Now our minds are like dark soils, and we're freaking out. But the whole point is Sadhguru and Oshos and all they're putting seeds there. They are not listening to your stories about your darkness. They say, oh, yeah, it is okay, it's okay. Don't worry, don't worry. But they know right seed will sprout there, because in that challenge, you will have no other option but to break through and get out. Opposite to it is suicide. It's the same energy which kills itself. It's the same energy which kills itself and takes a new birth. And in suicide, you say, I don't want any birth. I don't want to be in this life. So this, like an example I was giving in my notes, that either you are broken from outside your shell, you become an omelette, or you break from inside and become a new chicken or new lion. So once you are very clear about these two options, I think most of the human being will choose, no matter how cheese and how great the omelette is, they will choose to be a chicken. So you can give more eggs, but you won't choose to be an omelette. So that option has to be clear within ourselves also. When we are overwhelmed, that know well that you have to sustain this, stand with it. And you know that no darkness is absolute, no happiness is absolute, no light is absolute. It's a cycle. And the celebration of that cycle is what Krishna is about. It's a dialogue between dark and light, which is what we have completely ignored. We think there are dualities, let's fight. Finally, I would like to say the definition of Kali Yuga. Satya Yuga is when a table is standing on four legs. Treta Yuga is when it's standing on the three legs. Satya Yuga is everybody is harmony, and in Treta now the preferences has entered. With this absolute reality, you prefer something over something else. That is the Treta Yuga. Now Dwapar Yuga is the Yuga where now those preferences has become right and wrong, good and evil. And Kali Yuga is, which is happening, you can see all around. When these two dualities bent on destroying each other without realizing that without other I cannot exist. And that's what is happening. That's Kali Yuga is. So in that sense, we have to see the role of darkness in our light. We have to see the role of our dark moments into our wisdom.
I think that's what today in society we're trying to only keep the light, only keep the good, but we're not realizing that the dark is what makes the good good. And by cherry picking the lightness all the time, or taking a pill for depression or whatever, like
Yeah.
you're trying to sugarcoat your darkness because you think that'll preserve the light. But by doing that, you're creating more darkness only. It's
And
like
you're losing your sensitivity to the light also,
exactly.
because that creates a sensitivity for joy when you're going through deep depression. And that's actually a blessing from life for you, that now your system needs something new. So it will give you a very deep darkness. Now go for that.
Yeah. I feel like the waves of the cycles are getting deeper and deeper over time. And so we need to be like the body need and the like our life, our soul needs to be ready to experience it and sit with it rather than just ignore it or run away from it. Like for me,
Yes.
like I feel the darkness is getting really dark, but the light is getting really bright as well. The waves are getting really deep, and it's getting deeper and deeper over time. But I feel like again, the sad comes back to the sadhana. Like my sadhana will be make me more receptive and capable of sitting with these deeper cycles.
But there's one beautiful line by Krishnamurti, which I like to say again and again. He was mentioning this. He was saying, when you are in absolute darkness, so your awareness that this is dark, that is light. You see, light, there is no absolute dark, no absolute light. That context in darkness, you know it is dark, you know I am depressed. That is the light. Hold on to that. Because that is the key. And as I say again and again, good news, nothing lasts. And bad news, nothing lasts. Everything passes. And settling with this movement is what enlightenment is. Now you are relaxed. How are you doing? I am miserable. But why you're happy? Yeah, it comes and goes.
So true. Yeah.
That will be the ideal superhumans. Hey,
It's
I'm
exactly
depressed.
the way you said it. Like I'm miserable, but in such a like peaceful, accepting way. It's just that
That's,
itself encapsulates exactly what you were saying.
we need a stand-up comedy, man, because God is doing stand-up comedy and we are getting serious. Okay, what did he mean by that? He meant a punchline. Biggest punchline is we do so much and then we die. We don't see it as a punchline. We see it as a, oh my God, we die. No, it's a punchline. Look how serious you were and suddenly you're gone. It's like a joke.
Shri Ramachandra